Science at Home logo animation appears. It's a house with a heart in the middle of it, magenta background. Text on screen reading Science at Home, Scientist Spotlight text right below it.
Hi, my name is Tesha Dampier, and I am a Senior Quality Engineer at 3M.
Scientist Tesha Dampier appears on screen. She is sitting, speaking to the camera, white backdrop. There's some art sitting on a table behind her. Transition slide appears. What do you do and how is it relevant to science?
As a Senior Quality Engineer, I work with an amazing team of scientists and engineers to develop and manufacture filters that are used in the purification process of medicine. Our filters play a critical role in life-saving medicine. From monoclonal antibodies to vaccine to blood purification, our filters improve and save lives.
Transition slide appears. What is one of your earliest memories with science?
When I was a kid, I always wanted a microscope. I dreamed of the day of actually owning my own microscope. I envisioned putting hair underneath the microscope, plants, and even blood. It wasn't until I was in high school that I got an opportunity to actually work with a real microscope. I used to come early to class or even stay late to bring in my own samples to explore. I didn't care. I was just so fascinated with the microscope, I would put anything under it.
Transition slide appears, reading, what inspired you to pursue science?
I was inspired to pursue science by many of my college professors. I was always interested in science, but it wasn't until I arrived to college that my interest really sparked. I remember my professor, Dr. Daniel Gregory, who was an amazing teacher, taught organic chemistry. Although the course was very challenging, he made every lesson fun and exciting. When teachers are passionate about teaching science, they create and foster an environment that is conducive to learning and promotes education.
Transition slide appears, reading, what is one of your favorite things about being a scientist?
One of my favorite things about being a scientist is developing new products that improve life. There is nothing more rewarding than seeing a product for sale that you know that your work and research contribute to. As a scientist, I love developing and creating meaningful products. For example, one of my projects, we worked as a team to develop new asthma inhalers that help us breathe better.
Transition slide appears, reading, if you could help break a stereotype about being a scientist, what would it be?
If I could change a stereotype about scientists, that would be the image of a scientist. Oftentimes when I tell people that I'm a scientist, their first response is, you don't look like a scientist. That's because oftentimes the image of a scientist is a male. Women and African Americans have been making major contributions to the science field and industry over history. From George Washington Carver to Katherine Johnson to Kizzy McKee Corbett, women and minorities have been making contributions to science over decades. It is our job to continue to encourage women and minorities to pursue careers in science and technology.
Transition slide appears, reading, what advice would you give an aspiring scientist, inventor, or creator?
If you are an inspiring scientist, my advice is to take as many science courses as you can. This will help you identify the area of science that you're most passionate about and that you are most interested in. My second rule of advice would be to master math. Most careers in science are foundational in math. So once you master math, you can master anything.
Science at Home logo reappears. Scientist Spotlight text below. The 3M bumper animation appears.